kiddos, I am back. This is Meemaw or Grandma Jean Jean, whichever is fine. It's story time. Are you ready? I know I am. It's been a little bit of time, so let's try to catch up. Let me get my glasses on. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. I know I sure am. Okay, so let's start back on the Magic Tree House. And the Dinosaur Before Dark. We're all still on volume 1, but we are actually finishing the last 2 chapters today. Isn't that fun? Okay, so if you remember in the last 2 chapters that we read, that they had some dinosaurs kind of coming after them. They were trying to climb down the tree, and he was trying to get his book that had all kinds of notes in it. So let's see what happens. Let's see what finishes up. So we're on chapter 9. It's called The Amazing Ride. And it says, the Pteranodon coasted down to the ground. He stared at Jack with his bright, alert eyes. But I'm too heavy, thought Jack. Just look at the Tyrannosaurus. It was starting up the hill. Its giant teeth were flashing in the sunlight. Okay, thought Jack. Don't think, just do it. That's what he's telling himself. Jack put his book in his pack. Then he climbed onto the Pteranodon's back. He held on tightly. Oof, think he's going for an adventure, don't you think? The creature moved forward. He spread his wings and lifted off the ground. Jack nearly fell off as they teetered this way and that. The Pteranodon steadied himself and rose into the sky. Jack looked down. The Tyrannosaurus was staring up at him and chomping the air. The Pteranodon glided away. He sailed over the hilltop and over the valley. He circled above all the duck-billed dinosaurs and all the nest filled with babies. So they were pretty high. Then the Pteranodon soared out over the plain, over the Triceratops, who was grazing in his grass. In high grass. Jack felt like a bird. The wind was rushing through his hair. The air smelled sweet and fresh. Oh, there he is, way up high. See that? Way up high. Jack whooped and laughed. He couldn't believe it. He was riding on the back of an ancient flying reptile. I couldn't imagine that, could you? Riding on a big dinosaur up in the air, it's really just a big, big bird. I don't know if I'd feel comfortable with that. Might be fun, but might be scary too. The Pteranodon sailed over the stream and over the ferns and bushes. Then he carried Jack down to the base of the oak tree. Isn't that one a big one? This is a different dinosaur. He's on land only. He can't fly, but that's a big dinosaur, isn't he? Whew. I don't think I'd want to meet up with him because it's like you down here. You know how when you look down on the ground and you see like a little teeny tiny ant? Well, when that ant looks up at you, that's what they see, a big giant. And that's what this was. When they came to a stop, Jack slid off the creature's back and landed on the ground. The Pteranodon took off again and glided into the sky. Bye, Henry, called Jack. Jack, are you okay? Annie shouted from the treehouse. Jack pushed his glasses into place. He kept staring at the Pteranodon. Jack, Annie called. Jack looked up at Annie. He smiled. Thanks for saving my life, he said. That was really fun. Thank Henry, not me, said Annie. Come on, climb up. Jack tried to stand. His legs were wobbly. He felt a bit dizzy. Hurry, shouted Annie. It's coming. Jack looked around. The Tyrannosaurus was heading straight towards him. Jack bolted up the ladder, which means he went up really fast. He started climbing. Hurry, hurry, screamed Annie. Jack reached the top and scrambled into the treehouse. It's coming towards the tree, Annie cried. The dinosaur slammed against the oak tree. The treehouse shook like a leaf in the wind. Jack and Annie tumbled into the books. Make a wish to go home, cried Annie. We need the book. The Pennsylvania book, said Jack. Where is it? They both searched madly around the treehouse. Found it, said Jack. He grabbed the book and flipped through the pages. He found the photograph of the Frog Creek woods. Jack pointed to the picture in the book. I wish we could go home, he shouted. The wind began to blow. Jack closed his eyes. He held on tightly to Annie. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. We're on chapter 10 now. Home before dark. Jack heard a bird singing. He opened his eyes. He was still pointing at the picture of the Frog Creek woods. He peeked out the treehouse window. Outside, he saw the exact same view as the picture in the book. We're home, whispered Annie. The woods were lit with a golden late afternoon light. The sun was about to set. No time had passed since they left Frog Creek. Jack! Annie! A voice called from the distance. That's Mom, said Annie. Jack saw their mother far away. She was standing in front of their house. She looked tiny. Annie! Jack! She called. Annie and Jack are up here. And Mom's down here at their house. Annie stuck her head out the window and shouted, Coming! Jack still felt dazed. He just stared at Annie. What happened to us? He said. We took a trip in a magic tree house, said Annie simply. But it's the same time as when we left, said Jack. Annie shrugged. How did it take us so far away, said Jack, and so long ago? You looked at a picture in a book and said you wish we could go there, said Annie, and the magic tree house took us there. But how? Said Jack. And who built this magic tree house? Who put all these books here? A magic person, I guess, said Annie. Oh, look, said Jack. I almost forgot about this. Jack reached into the pocket and pulled out the gold medallion. Someone lost this back there, he said, in Dinosaur Land. Look, there's a letter M on it. Annie's eyes got round. You think M stands for magic person? She asked. I don't know, said Jack. I just know someone went to that place before us. Jack! Annie! Their mom called again. Coming! Annie shouted again. Jack put the gold medallion back in his pocket. He pulled the dinosaur book out of his pack and put it back with all the other books. Then he and Andy took one last look around the treehouse. Goodbye, house, whispered Annie. Jack slugged his backpack over his shoulders. Annie started down the rope ladder. Jack followed. Seconds later, they hopped onto the ground and started walking out of the woods. No one's going to believe our story, said Jack. So let's not tell anyone, said Annie. Dad won't believe it, said Jack. He'll say it was a dream, said Annie. Mom won't believe it, said Jack. She'll say it was pretend. My teacher won't believe it, said Jack. She'll say, you're nuts, said Annie. We'd better not tell anyone, said Jack. I already said that, said Annie. Jack sighed. I think I'm starting not to believe it myself, he said. They left the woods and started up the road towards their house. As they walked past all the houses on their street, the trip to the dinosaur time did seem more and more like a dream. Only this world and this time seemed real. Jack reached into his pocket. He clasped the golden medallion. He felt the engraving on the letter M. It made his fingers tingle. Jack laughed. Suddenly he felt very happy. He could explain what happened today, but he knew for sure that their trip in the magic treehouse had been real. Absolutely real. Tomorrow, Jack said softly, we'll go back to the woods. Of course, said Annie. And we'll climb up in the treehouse, said Jack. Of course, said Annie. And we'll see what happens next, said Jack. Of course, said Annie. Race you! And she took off together, and they took off together, running for home. There they are in the woods with their backpack on and all their stuff in their backpack. And guess what? We are done with that volume 1. So we are all done with Dinosaurs Before Dark. I hope you enjoyed that. We do have more, and I will start them another day. So the next volume we'll be reading is called The Night at Dawn. So we'll pick that up next time. Hope you enjoyed it. Love you guys. Smile, tell somebody you love them, and give a big hug and kiss if you can. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.